Joining me in the studio today is Mike Ledford, Director of Animal Services, and Gwen Trimmer, Adoption Specialist. Thank you for being with me today, guys.
Thanks for having us.
I know you have a very busy schedule right now.
It's been hectic, yes.
So for the past 18 months, you have taken a slab of dirt and turned it into an animal shelter. Tell me what is involved in that process and what were some of the challenges?
Well, I guess the biggest challenge to start with was doing the research we needed to do to make sure we did it right, taking the steps necessary to ensure that we had the best possible facility available for the animals and the citizens of Hall County.
How did you decide to have an on-site veterinarian? Megan mentioned that that's something different.
Well, it is, and we interviewed, or I sat and interviewed with several different shelters and different directors throughout Georgia. And the common denominator when we talked about problems was the fact of being able to procure veterinary care for the animals when it was necessary without having a vet on staff. So we decided to go that route so we wouldn't have that hurdle to jump over.
Is it less expensive to have one on
It
staff?
is less expensive than to contract, yes.
Okay, so that's definitely a move for the taxpayers.
It has helped a
Their
lot,
interest.
yes.
Okay, so your number one focus is adoptions, and that's where you come in, Gwen.
Yes.
What is the process to get a dog? Say I come in and I would like to adopt a pet. What do you do?
Well, we ask everyone to go through our adoption area. I ask them what they're looking for, if it's a puppy or a large dog or a cat or a kitten. And before they go into the adoption rooms, I tell them what our cost is and what it covers.
And our costs are pretty low compared to other places, right?
Our cost is $65, and you're not going to get any lower than that.
What all does that include?
It includes their Bordetella, their deworming, their first in the series of their vaccination. If it is an adult dog, their heartworm test and their rabies shot. For the cats, it includes the combo test, and naturally also if it's of age, which is 3 months or older for a dog or a cat, their rabies shot. And their spay or their neuter, and that is required by law for any shelter.
Really?
That they are required to be spayed or neutered, plus with the pet overpopulation problem, we would do it anyway. And also the microchip, and we do the registration because we want to make sure that that pet is registered to the owner before it walks out the door. And that is a wonderful amount of services for $65.
Definitely. I'm not extremely familiar with microchip. What exactly is that?
A microchip it's a little chip about the size of a grain of rice, and it's placed between the shoulder blades, and it has an identification number on it. And it is registered with a national company, and we take the owner's information, their telephone number, their address, and then that information is registered with this national company. And just about every shelter, every veterinarian office, any animal welfare organization nowadays has what we call a scanner that will pick up. Most everybody has what they call universal scanners now that will pick up any national microchip. And so if a pet is lost and someone finds it and say they bring it into our organization, the first thing we do is scan a companion pet to see if it has a microchip. And that number will pop up along with the organization that handles that microchip. And we would call that organization, and they would give us the owner's information, and we would instantly call the owner and say, we have your pet. So it's a wonderful way to track your animal in case it's lost.
So it's another way of keeping animals out of the shelter.
Right.
Right.
It's a great way. And for us, one of the things that we know is that we have seen that so many animals have not been registered to the owners. That's one reason that we decided to go ahead and do the registration for the owners. We've seen that animals come in, they're still registered to the veterinarian's office, or they're registered to the rescue group that people purchase them from. So that's why we're so adamant about doing the registration for the new adopter. That way we know everything's done and taken care of, and when that new adopter walks out the door, everything has been done for them.
What do you have to do to adopt a pet?
Well, you have to have some form of ID, preferably a driver's license. That is, we're looking for that. You have to go through a short interview process. You have to fill out an application. We discuss kind of what you're looking for in a pet. We have 5 major breeds that have to have a fence check, not because these breeds are bad dogs, but just because they have gotten a reputation.
Right.
And also, we're protecting the dogs from the community as well as the community from the dogs. Sometimes people don't understand these breeds and can be unkind to these breeds. They're Rottweilers, Pits, German Shepherds, Dobermans, and Akitas. And sometimes these breeds, like I said, people have a tendency to be very, very fearful of them just because of their size. So therefore, we do go out and do a fence check. And we physically do this. We don't just say it, we do it. And so that's something for anyone who wants to adopt any of those breeds, they need to be aware of that. And it can be a 10 by 10 pen. We would prefer it to be a totally fenced-in backyard.
Those big dogs need room to run around.
Yes, they really,
really do. I have a pit bull
do.
that's a rescue dog myself.
Yeah.
She needs that big old yard.
Yeah, they really do. But this is something people need to be aware of. And we're not trying to discriminate against people who own these dogs. We are trying to protect your dog, and we are also trying to protect the community. I try and talk to people about the leash law in Hall County and about the factor that you need to keep your animals on your property. Not everybody is a dog lover or a cat lover, and that's okay. And so therefore, you need to keep your animals on your property, preferably, in a fenced-in yard or in your home. Those are things that we try and encourage people to think about. We also have a 30-day insurance policy that I go over with you, and you have the option of carrying that on at your expense. And I also explain the microchip to people too. And we have a small adoption packet that we hand out to people. We have some coupons from Pet Pleasers Bakery, from Brewster's in Gainesville.
Brewster's, is that for the dog or the people?
Both.
Really?
The dogs get a doggy cup, a little cup of ice cream with a little doggy treat in. So, we have all kinds of things for our adopters.
So the interview process is in part to educate the adopter.
Yes. Yes.
As well as make sure that the dog is going to a good home.
Yes.
Okay, great.